on Australia's business channel. This is Mediaweek.
Hello, welcome to the program. Ahead, the outlooks for Nine Entertainment and 10 Network. Radio ratings and revenue numbers out. We get a picture of how the sector is faring. And our guest this week is John Bell, the Global Managing Director of Social at Ogilvy, on why social media matters. But first, the ACCC has delayed a decision on a proposed takeover of Consolidated Media by Seven Group till the 11th of October. It's called for more submissions given its competition concerns that Seven could exert influence on Fox Sports over sports rights. This all comes after News Limited formalised its $2 billion takeover bid for Consolidated Media, which needs Seven's votes to get through. Well, let's get some analysis on this. Of course, we have with us our co-host, James Manning, the editor and publisher of Mediaweek. And also joining us now for more on this is Chris Weston from IG Markets. Okay, well, we don't have Chris yet. Hopefully we can cross to him soon. James, I guess just looking at this, I mean, we've seen News now come out and make its formal offer for Consolidated Media, which obviously has those major stakes in Foxtel and Fox Sports. Seven, though, still, you know, we're not clear.
Player in the whole thing, yeah. Kerry Stokes has the ability to block the deal, I guess, if he doesn't sell his shareholding. And for which he'd be paid sort of quite well, I think, for on his initial investment. Or he could say, look, I'd like to, you know, we can make a bid ourselves for it, which then again they would need a fair bit of funding if they wanted to go through with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, quite crucial, I guess, what the ACCC comes up with in October.
All right, and we'll hear it more, obviously, yeah, the 11th of October, the date that the ACCC has put that out to. I just wanted to also turn now to all the speculation surrounding the outlooks for 10 Network and also Nine Entertainment too. Just firstly on 10, I mean, we've been seeing the shares this week, a lot of analysis about these 10 shares ratings, certainly decade lows. We've been hearing some reports.
Yeah, absolutely. From maybe certainly since the Ostam ratings have been in, which is about 2001. And we've said, look, the impact that's going to have on their rate negotiation for next year, not going to be good. Still no clarity yet on when they might have an upfront, talking about what they could be showing next year. Some of their programming's been delayed into next year, which will probably help make that look a little bit more attractive. Their new US programming will come online when those shows start to screen in the States, which will be in the next couple of weeks. So there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel for them short term. And then with their, their Australian programming, they've deferred for into next year. Interesting
too, we have heard that a replacement has been announced for the head of publicity too, Catherine Donovan, I believe, being appointed
probably
there.
A great appointment. They had a few people internally who could have stepped up, I guess, but Kat's been there for quite a while. Been looking after sport, which probably it's not a crucial area for them anymore. Of course, they don't have a dedicated sporting channel anymore. Don't have any big rights. They've got the F1 and the Moto, but nothing else really. So it's good. It utilises her probably a bit better than she has been in the past.
I'm just turning to Nine Entertainment as well. And obviously, we covered last week the sale of ACP magazines to Bauer. A very complex story, obviously, that the debt that CVC has in Nine Entertainment. But there's been a lot more reports about negotiations ongoing this week.
Yeah, a lot of talks this week, but it's all sort of backroom stuff. It's hard to get a handle on what's going on. The lenders, of course, have got to sort of okay that Bauer deal. You think they probably will, because they can use that money to pay down some of that debt. And looks like, the CVC, the private equity business, won't really end up with anything at the end of the day.
All right, let's just turn now to another story this week. Well, the boss of WPP, the world's largest marketing and advertising services group, Sir Martin Sorrell, has been visiting Australia in the past week, and he spoke to Carsten Scott on the record about the challenges facing the business model of media agencies, and he also gave some insights into WPP's dealings with Google.
So it's really being able to adapt what you do. So today, if we were having this conversation 5 or 10 years ago, virtually 0% in digital. We're now 32% digital, and of our $17 billion of revenue this year. And in terms of bricks and next 11 and fast growth markets, it's now 30%. We want it to be 35 to 40%. So it's adapting what we do. I hate the phrase business model, but adapting what we do to those geographic and technological changes. I mean, I think our biggest target with Google, and we have regular annual plans with them, is to try and make sure that we're mining all the opportunities on search, on display, on video, on social network. We have Google+, and last but not least on mobile. So I think those 5 areas, which we are growing extremely strongly with them, are absolutely critical.
Well, our special guest on Media Week today is part of the WPP group of companies. John Bell is the Global Managing Director of Social at Ogilvy, which launched in February this year. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Brady.
Just firstly wanted to ask you about what Social at Ogilvy does and why it was launched.
Well, Social at Ogilvy has actually been around for about 7 years. We did expand and launch this year, and it's a practice that sits across all of Ogilvy's businesses, bringing social media solutions to our clients. So that means that when we're talking with a client from the advertising group, we have social solutions. When we're talking from the public relations group, we have social solutions. It's been my experience that social media spans all of the organizations. So Social at Ogilvy was put in place to spread social across all of our businesses.
John, can you run a big business these days without being active in the social media space?
You know, I don't think you can. I had the chance to talk to a group of CEOs here in Australia today and sharing what I have experienced with the large brands that I work with, the Nestle's of the world, the Fords of the world. And I think there's just so much change in consumer behavior in that consumers are listening to their friends, their social connections via Facebook and Twitter to make purchase decisions. So the purchase journey is more complex than it ever was. I think that there's, you look on the web right now, there's millions, if not billions, of forensic scientists out there just waiting to look into your supply chain to see what your business practices are, because it's all available now. So I think between the risks and the potential value and reward of companies building stronger relationships with their customers directly, there's just no way to ignore that now.
I guess, what are the key benefits to business for social media?
Well, you know, it's interesting. There's a rise right now in this concept of social business, which in short is basically that social media can deliver value back to the business in many ways. Not just in marketing and communications, but also in employee communications, innovation, getting ideas from the outside in. But if I stick narrowly to the application in marketing and communications, essentially social media can help us build stronger relationships with our customers so they stay with us. Quite frankly, they spend more money with us. I think that the thing that most brands are trying to figure out now is how to, in the nicest way possible, stimulate people's advocacy. Why would you share about a product or a service that you care about out there? Because, quite frankly, what you tell me locally here about a restaurant and where I should go matters a lot more to me than the print advertisement I might see in the newspaper.
Some of the advocates getting too carried away. I mean, you hear things like, you know, TV shows like to promote their programs. They say, look, this show trended #1 on Twitter. Doesn't necessarily relate back to the ratings, the number of people that sort of want to watch it.
You know, it's funny that you mention ratings in relation to mentions in Twitter, because actually there is some research right now that says there is a correlation between the commentary on Twitter to actual ratings.
Well, we've tried to investigate that in
Have
the
you?
past, and we've had someone from one of the big networks who've got people who work on this, and
Sure.
he says he gets some intelligence that correlates with it, but it does work.
Apparently there is some contemporary research which you may want to look into to critique.
Absolutely.
But that does, and it stands to reason. You know, when True Blood, a very popular program, I know it's shown here as well, aired its fifth episode, its fifth season, first episode, I think during the broadcast they had over 250,000 mentions. That's the most talked, this is in Facebook and in Twitter. So that means all these people were talking about it during the program. The next most talked about show is 60,000 mentions. So it really is starting to expand your universe, our universe here in the media world.
I guess just looking too at the potential threats to business as well. I mean, we see significant crises occasionally erupt, you know, lots of headaches for brands. What should business do about that, you know, when something sort of takes off in the social media space?
It's a great point. When you look at social media crises, let's say there was one major one in 2001. In 2012, there were 16, so it's growing. And these are crises that don't necessarily start in social media, but that's where they accelerate and rapidly grow. I worked on 4 big crises for brands this year, so it's definitely accelerating and picking up. And brands kind of need to own up that they need to behave differently in order to react well and respond well. First of all, they need to work a lot faster and respond much quicker than they ever used to before. They have to have a way to talk to people. It's terrible when a brand is being attacked, perhaps in social media, but they have no mechanism, no Twitter handle themselves, no Facebook page themselves in order to carry on their side of the conversation. And I think, lastly, it's like, you know, this old adage in communications about the best time to fight a crisis is before it happens, right? So preparedness and being ready to tell your story, and quite frankly, being aware of whatever skeletons you may have in your closet, because somebody's going to find them.
The value of social media, some people think, look, I can get on there, we could run it ourselves. It's sort of free it's free time for
Yes.
us. Can that be dangerous?
That is the bane of my existence, the myth that using social media for business is free. Yeah, I think a lot of brands make the big mistake of saying things like, well, we'll just have our intern run the Facebook page. Coca-Cola has 50 million subscribers to their Facebook page. That is a channel of extreme value. You would never put that in the hands of your intern. So I think we're starting to see the conversion now of brands understanding that there is true business value. And quite frankly, what you said before, that there's also risk. So you need to manage it well. And there are plenty of brands who've gone out there on social media and quite frankly aggravated their community because they just weren't prepared to converse in the way that the community is used to.
Got to ask you too about Facebook. We've seen, you know, the disastrous IPO there. Shares starting to claw their way back a bit after Mark Zuckerberg came out and made some comments. What do you think? I mean, is it a social institution or is it the next MySpace?
It's funny you say that. I think the critique of the stock price is a diversion. You all would have a better insight into the kind of financial flubs that went on there. But the truth is that Facebook is a real force to be reckoned with. Near 1 billion people worldwide. The advertising opportunities on there are tremendous and great. So I'm actually very bullish on Facebook. We use it a lot. We believe in the ROI of communicating with our customers via Facebook.
And with Twitter, it's getting a lot of attention here at the moment about abuse and people bullying, and and it's not something nice. But do you think the media could be overreacting? Is it we're reading too much into it, or is it something we should be warning against?
Look, no one's in favor of bullying. No one's in favor of the abusive behaviors that do happen in the online world and, quite frankly, in the offline world. But I do think the media is overreacting. What we found, what I see in many markets around the world, is that these communities tend to self-correct over time. Those people who abuse get ostracized and get pushed out. I think that we can assume that this will self-correct over time.
Got to ask you too, just finally, we've seen the iPhone 5 launched, and I mean, there's so much about, you know, that growth is going to be mobile, smartphone.
Yes.
What do you think? I mean, what's your sort of initial reaction if we could get that?
Of the iPhone?
Yeah,
I love
the
it.
5.
I mean, the iPhone has changed our world, those people in my team. So I'm a big proponent of that. I think the iPhone 5 is spectacular. They've done a great job of connecting all the social communication tools that I'm used to. And it really plays into something that I think we all need to pay attention to, which is the always connected consumer. So the bottom line is, we as consumers now have our iPhone 5 or 4 while we're standing in front of the counter at the store and we're checking out the ingredients and the health qualities of a product we're buying. It's just made us more powerful as consumers. So I'm a big proponent of that.
It's been great to have you on the program. Thank you so much for your time. John Bell, Global Managing Director of Social at Ogilvy.